mofos here on Friday, August 23rd. Welcome back to the Damon Bruce Show, brought to you by Ike Sandwiches. Today we are powered by BetUS as well, and it's just great to have you here. You want to help this channel grow? You want to help this live stream move throughout the universe? Hit like and subscribe. Don't wait to the end. Hit like and subscribe if you already haven't. Memberships indeed available, and boy, I hope you hit notify, because if you do, you will not be unaware of the fact that we're going live at the 2-minute warning of tonight's 49ers Raiders preseason finale. And thank God we have reached this time in the week, because there's nothing left to do but be thankful that the preseason is almost over. It is about to really matter from here on out. Nothing up to this point has really mattered that much. A terrible, disappointing development that neither Brandon Aiyuk nor Trent Williams has been around the 49ers this year. Now, whether Brandon Aiyuk might be on the move to Washington is something a lot of people are talking about after the Commanders were involved in a trade with the Eagles yesterday. It's a headache that we should have never needed the aspirin for this headache that all doctors are prescribing. But here we are. You know, whatever wish this team had for Brandon Aiyuk, it has gone all askew of the way it was supposed to go, and here we now are. So just get through this one last game as healthy as possible. Again, it is awesome having you here. Thank you so much for being here. Much love from our friend James Jones. Much love, Damon and family. Been a very interesting week. First week of kindergarten, nearly wrapped up in the books here. So it's been a big week at the house, no doubt about it. And we are ready to go. It feels like regular season schooling has officially begun here in the Bruce household. Let me just tell you, though, about our sponsors, because you're thinking of, like, what am I going to do for lunch today? I want you to go to Ike's. I want you to go to Ike's in Mission Rock and try the cheeseburger that is available at the Mission Rock location. If you're in San Francisco, go get one of the 10 best cheeseburgers in the city. It hasn't made a top 10 list yet. It will. Those cheeseburgers are freaking awesome, to the point where I'm thinking of, can I have one of those today, later, maybe today? Or should I make a more sensible choice? Either way, get to Ike's. Order it on the app. Download the app. Start earning your way towards free sandwiches or burgers at the Mission Rock location. You'll be very, very happy that you did, my man Ike. What a week he's had, with Billie Eilish giving him an endorsement on The Late Show. Probably running out of reading rainbows anywhere they're serving sandwiches at Ike's. It's been a great week for him, a great week for us. We thank you. Always end a great week at the Dubliner and West Portal, a great place to go on in, say chin chin with like-minded folks. Those are my people at Dubliner, West Portal. Get yourself there. We will be convening, I believe, once again during the bye week for what is Plus Mania 5 coming up? Will that be the next one? It's a place where the whole community goes, our community included. So thanks so much to Ike's and the Dubliner and West Portal. And as we've told you, we are now powered by BetUS. You can check out BetUS, 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. And we got a little historic line movement. If you really need to bet on a preseason game, the Raiders opened as 3.5-point favorites against the 49ers for tonight's preseason game. The line is now 49ers minus 7.5. It is the largest NFL preseason line movement since 2004. It's the biggest preseason line movement in 20 years. If that doesn't scream layoff, I don't know what does. I mean, the best bets you will make are some of the ones you decide not to make. When you do decide to use a book, I hope you use BetUS. Unbelievable interface, easy to use, easy to understand, dependable, reliable payouts. All reputation is spoken for when it comes to BetUS. And again, 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000.
West.com. Get it all. Huge bonuses, great odds, a race book, live in-game betting, and a casino. BetUS, my online sports book and casino.
So some really interesting things to watch and keep an eye on this week if you are around the 49ers. If you're going to the game in Vegas tonight, Is anyone going to this game in Vegas? Look, I was there last year for the 49ers Raiders preseason game. It was my first time in Allegiant Stadium. Very impressive stadium. That was a better time around for the 49ers than the last time they spent at Allegiant Stadium, where clearly they lost a Super Bowl. One of the most jarring facts I saw about the 49ers coming into this game was offered by Matty Barrows in a column previewing position by position, player by player, what the Niners might look like this upcoming year. Brandon Aiyuk has not practiced with the 49ers since the team was preparing for the Super Bowl at UNLV. That just doesn't feel right. That doesn't sound right. That can't sit well. And now here we are with the Commanders maybe re-entering the interested in Brandon Aiyuk business, although I will tell you, approach with each and every story you see that just tries to discuss what might happen Brandon Aiyuk next, like with as much caution and skepticism as possible. To say that no one has been on target would be a huge exaggeration. No one has had any inkling or, let me tell you what's about to happen with Brandon Aiyuk. It's about to happen within 48 hours, 24 hours, 72 hours, this week, next week. He's wearing a T-shirt. He's wearing Niners colors. He's dapping up Shanahan. He just did a 5-step handshake with John Lynch, and that's got to mean that he's about to sign. Oh, no, wait. He wants to go. He wants to stay. He's been offered 30. He's been offered 27 and a half. This, that, the other. It is, is the only official legitimate commentary left on that situation. And it all goes the same for Trent Williams. Here's the thing. If you wanted to bring in Trent so late that he didn't have any preseason games to worry about, that means he should be in by Monday. I'm just going to throw that out there. You know, without Brandon Aiyuk, winning a Super Bowl gets hard. Without Trent Williams, I think reaching a Super Bowl becomes almost impossible. So, you know, you're going to want to pick or choose one of those poisons. And by the way, poisons, I mean most important players on your team, and make sure that they are on your team come week 1 against the New York Jets. And that is officially coming fast. Some things to keep an eye on tonight, though, in Las Vegas, you know, is Malik Mustafa or Dominic Pooney now officially getting the starter treatment? Are either one of those guys playing meaningful reps in this game tonight, or will they be sat in the name of these guys are week 1 starters and we don't want any week 1 starters hurt? That, of course, directly translates to Brock Purdy. His last preseason game was as big of a throwaway waste of time for him as humanly possible, so they're going to throw him back out there behind a bit of a patchwork offensive line to play a little football tonight in Las Vegas. Again, I wouldn't. We'll see the decision Kyle Shanahan makes. We'll see if play calling decisions are Kyle Shanahan's tonight. He's told us he's been bored in these first 2 preseason games, allowing Clay Kubiak to be the guy calling the plays. Maybe Kyle looks to get him a preseason game under his belt to get back in the rhythm of play calling. Don't think Kyle needs it, but he's been bored the last 2 preseason games. We'll see what he looks like tonight. Big night for Isaac Guerendo on this team. 10, 12, 15 touches for Isaac Guerendo, either, you know, on special teams, out of the backfield, as a pass catcher. I think Guerendo is going to be featured in this game to see whether or not he's going to be featured on the 53-man roster when this season finally breaks. By the way, you got to be cut down to 53 by Tuesday next week. So by Wednesday, Larry and I on Wake Up, and on this channel right here, this show right here, we will be going over who exactly made this roster, the big surprise cut, the big surprise didn't make it, who might it be? I don't really know if there's anything that can happen in Las Vegas tonight that is really going to change the fortunes of one player. Like, I think whatever the decision on Cam Latu is, it's probably already been made. Now, if he were to have a 10-catch, 100-yard, 2-touchdown night, something so overwhelming, maybe that changes it. But I don't know, because no player, I think, is ever being evaluated on one day's worth of work. It's the days you stack up on top of each other. What is day 19 of practice, either today or yesterday, and they you know, they've had all these sessions and blocks. What he's done throughout all of that will be factored more than just one evening against Raiders third teamers, I would think. So got to keep an eye on all that. The most important trait for a backup tight end is either the ceiling or the floor. I don't think if you have, so let's say Brock Purdy isn't on the team. Let's say the QB1 hasn't been so thoroughly established that there's really going to be no challenge to that position. Then I think a backup quarterback with a higher ceiling is then more important than the floor of the quarterback. For example, the Raiders are starting Gardner Minshew this year. Ideally, their backup quarterback would have a very high ceiling. You might doubt who he is today, which is why Gardner Minshew won the job, but you'd think, should something go wrong with Minshew through all the reps of the year, that QB2 will then ascend to something. Well, the 49ers don't live in that universe anymore. This is Brock's job. So now what's more important to Kyle and company in terms of QB2? The guy with the better floor, which is Brandon Allen, or the guy with possibly the higher ceiling, which is Josh Dobbs? So how does that factor and play in tonight as these two guys are, officially battling it out for that second quarterbacking job? It looks like Brandon Allen, who has been getting most of the second team reps all year, is probably the guy, but Dobbs has looked better in these preseason games than he has in practice. So how will that be scored against these guys in the evaluation process that Lynch and Shanahan are going through? And then there's the whole, Tanner Mordecai. Do you think you can slip a guy like that through waivers if you're talking about your fourth quarterback? Well, now you're really talking about, now it's about ceiling, not a floor, because if you're at your QB4, you're in a lot of trouble anyways. QB3, whatever. So there are some very edge of the roster decisions that might get hammered out, but for the most part, this game is probably a futile exercise for all involved. I think the roster's pretty much been set. Not a lot can change tonight. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's pretty much been set. This is a tough roster to crack, and they got to be at 53 on Tuesday. I don't know if anyone is on or off based on what they do tonight. Like backup tight end Cam Latu. Can he really play himself on or off the roster, or has that decision been made? Rookie cornerback Renardo Green will be an interesting guy to look at just in terms of snap count tonight. Renardo Green has been moved to corner out of nickel, which means Diamador Lenore is probably a guy who's going to be thought at as your nickel guy all year long, which means what? Green is a starting corner now? Is that what you're telling me? Or might it go to Yadam? Might it go to Rock Ya-Sin? We'll see who gets through tonight's game looking better. Renardo Green has actually flashed in both of these preseason games. It'd be great if the rookie looked good again tonight. And then, Tatum Bethune is a guy to really keep an eye on. Tatum Bethune wasn't someone who was going to start this year anywhere but on the practice squad. At least that's the way it felt. And then he has shown up in camp as one of this team's most dependable around-the-ball tacklers that it's had all season, preseason. So, Tatum Bethune is probably making this team before this game kicks off. If he has another 8 to 10 tackle game tonight, how do you leave him off? I don't think you can. So there's something to keep an eye on. And then what you really need to keep an eye on is when does that 2-minute warning get going? Hopefully it's somewhere around 10 o'clock, and we have a fast ticking clock tonight. We are avoiding preseason challenges for the most part of this game tonight, and we'll be going somewhere around 10 o'clock live streaming at the 2-minute warning, a little post-game and Damon coming up for you here later this evening. Again, already did a wake up with Larry, so anything that we might have missed here, I'm sure you can find it there, and then come on back for the latest update of everything tonight around 10 o'clock when we get going here with a little post-game stream. You can already, by the way, find that studio. It is built, it's set up, it's waiting for you to click on to. If you want to start waiting now, very aggressive. If you want to start liking it now, very aggressive. Please like this show right now if you haven't. Thank you very much. That's very aggressivo, and we do appreciate it very, very much. I am happy to tell you some good news from the preseason, which was a little bit of a scary situation last night at Arrowhead. If you had been watching, Bears cornerback Douglas Coleman was stretchered off that field on a backboard, brought to the hospital, and it didn't look very good. All extremities have movement in them now. He is feeling much, much better. That is great news. A little bit of our first scary situation officially happened at Arrowhead just last evening. So none of that tonight, obviously. None of that tonight for the 49ers and company. None of that tonight for the Raiders. None of that for anybody. Getting through this final preseason game healthy is something that I would wish on any and everyone, enemies included, if you will. There is a huge tax to be paid by trying to have a career in football. The worst thing that could happen would be somebody be really, really hurt who might not make a football team. And yes, they would be taken care of in the meantime, but you wouldn't want any catastrophic damage to anybody who isn't going to really be on an NFL roster. And a whole bunch of guys who are not going to be on NFL rosters are going to be the guys out there playing in this game. Again, shrinking the preseason didn't really add importance as much as it just changed strategy with some coaches. How do you want to use your preseason? Do you want to play your starters early and then taper them off? Or do you want to have everybody sit early and then splash with your starters for a half in the final preseason game? The 49ers have been a little bit on the edge of both. You know, there are a whole bunch of valuable, important players we haven't seen. I guess everybody is going to be dressing, and then you're going to get a lot of game time scratches this evening, I'm guessing, as I scratch the tip of my own nose. So there you go. I mean, when it comes to preseason football, there's really nothing more to say. When it comes to the whole holdout and hold-ins on the 49ers, there really isn't anything more to say. When it comes to sip of the day, folks, there really isn't anything more to have. The only mistake I made between the two shows was not running upstairs for more coffee. Look at the grounds at the bottom of that cup. That was nice and muddy and delicious about an hour ago. It's empty right now. It's empty. I did screw up. I didn't go upstairs and fire up another carafe on time to make things happen. But look, let's pop into the chat and see what's going on here. Kyle says, the NFL really needs to add a second bye week. It will add a second bye week when they go to 18 games, for sure. You might need a third bye week if they go to 20, for goodness sakes. And they probably will get there eventually. But yeah, another bye week isn't going to hurt anybody. This game needs your body needs a break from it. I was talking about how, 49ers Raiders preseason does it even really happen unless there's some sort of fight in a bathroom? I don't know how many bathroom fights we've seen at Allegiant Stadium. Let's be honest, Allegiant Stadium is the only stadium in the NFL where the home team's fans are dwarfed by the away team fans. This is the life Al Davis chose for his team. Raiders will never have a home field advantage except for week 1 when they're at the Chargers this football season, in which case they will have a home field advantage on the road playing the Chargers, but in Las Vegas, they'll never have one. That is going to pretty much prevent anything from popping off. We were talking about the Norteñas when JT O'Sullivan was wearing a 14 jersey, all the gang activity that was related around that. Joe Schmo saying, the Norteñas are going to be at this game. They're Ricky Pearsall fans now. Is Ricky Pearsall going to be in this game? Probably not. Again, don't tell me about what Ricky Pearsall is or might be. He's an illusion. He is a rumor until something other than that develops. I'm not here to tell you that the kid's a bust. We don't know what he is. He has not been evaluated yet as a football player. He's only been evaluated from a triage standpoint, and they've decided that non-contact jerseys are the only house that he's lived in an entire preseason. The fact that he didn't get hurt or got so hurt without any contact is disturbing. Mike Silver's report that he came with pre-existing conditions out of Florida, that's not good. That ain't good. So we'll see what Ricky Pearsall's rookie season ends up looking like. Right now, it's impossible to predict. Padrig saying hello from Ireland. Padrig is here. Oh, it's so good to see you, lad. Otis. Wouldn't it be funny if we found out that Patty's just like a dude down in San Bruno screwing with us? His name is Mike, or something like that. He's just doing the whole laddie routine from down in San Bruno. I really hope you are from Ireland. I believe you are, because I can hear the accent when I go ahead and I read this. Joe Schmo saying, Damon, missed wake up. I will go back. Well, thank you. And that's the beauty of YouTube. You can go back and check it all out. By the way, if you want to check out BetUS, you can see a link pinned in the comment section, and there is a link in the description to this video for you to use to go to BetUS and start having some fun over there with that as your sports book. 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. There you go. Oh, True Blue Forever, you are right about this. Kyle likes to throw the red flag. I mean, unless it's an NFC championship game and it's early against the Eagles, I would agree with you. I would agree with you. But yeah, we don't need any. There should be a rule. No preseason challenges. You don't need to do it. Like you know, if you're saying, well, these coaches need to practice challenging plays. No, they don't. They only need practice at identifying the plays that they would challenge. The coach should be able to throw a ceremonial challenge flag in the preseason. Like maybe it's like red and white checkered. Instead of just a red flag, it's got red and white checkers saying, I would have challenged this, but since it's the preseason, I'm going to spare everybody the total waste of time in doing that. And we're not. Like that would be the right way to go. That would really be the right way to go if you were looking to do this for the fans in any way, shape, or form, because not a single fan needs to sit through a preseason challenge. I like Dobbs and Don Burry, as my phone suggests. Yeah. If there were a player whose name was, really close to, Renardo Green might have come out as Ramen Green at one point if I was texting his name to somebody. There's no one's whose name can be confused with udon. That would be a delicious noodle substitute that might happen as I was texting away. Sporticus says, nothing says Raiders like Minshew magic. Here's the thing. I like Gardner Minshew. I do. I like Gardner Minshew. But if he is your starting quarterback, what you have is a backup quarterback as your starting quarterback, unless he is really going to play himself out of that spot. I don't know if he is. I think Gardner Minshew is good for, at best, 8 weeks of football. After that, the exposing comes quickly. I think it's going to be a rough year for the Raiders. I like the Raiders' defensive line, and that's kind of where what I like about the Raiders sort of stops. They are in a tough division with an ascending Chargers team, apparently an ascending Broncos team, and the best team of all the teams, the Kansas City Chiefs. So the Raiders are poorly built and live in a rough neighborhood. Lee Ving says, hey, Raiders didn't draft a quarterback. They rebuild forever. They do that. 49er fan says, look, man, we are on our way to the game. 49ers fan, have a good time. Have a great time in Las Vegas. I don't know what you're doing before or after, but the options are indeed endless. Lee Ving says, is Cam Latu and TDP and Sermon of Ty Davis Price and of tight ends, do they just give up on him? Maybe tonight they do. He could be yet another third-round pick that got cut before he actually mattered for the 49ers, which is a little of an indictment on some early drafting this team has done. They've got their hits. They've got their misses, that's for sure. Albert saying, look, Aiyuk is going to start so late without reps or practice that he's going to become a liability. My bet is that he signs, gets the bag, then injures himself within 2 weeks, an ACL tear or something. Just trade him. Well, boy, I would hope not. I would certainly hope not. And I understand why everybody is like officially at their Brandon Aiyuk end of their rope. Like, I get it. I really get it. But I just don't think you can give up on a guy who's such a valuable target to this team. I really don't think so. Postman in Capitola.
Send it in, Jerome!
It's not even basketball season. But God, it will be soon. I mean, we're almost here at the end of August, which means September's around the corner, which means October's around the corner, and October means basketball's back. I'm glad we're at the part of the year, after coming out of the slow part of the year, that we're getting into like, oh, sports is coming back, baby. Adding more games will ensure load management. It's going to find its way into the NFL lexicon because it will have to. Well, this is the deal with the devil that you're making. When you want to extend what was built in to be a short season into a longer season, yeah, players are going to be dealt with like that. I don't think it's going to rear its head early in games, but later in games, fourth quarter strategies, I think will change for teams, depending on where they are in their competitive life cycles. Yeah, football's changing a little bit right in front of our eyes. And it's not just the new kickoff. Joe Schmo just wants everybody to know he's on fire today. Jose El Fuego. Thank you. You like those checkered flags? Isn't that a good idea? Devin and Morgan Hill, checkered flags. Yeah, just symbolic challenge. I would have challenged this, but I won't bother because it's the preseason, and God have mercy on all of our souls. I mean, if we all agree the outcome does not matter, then why are we so fixated on the outcome of any one particular play? If the scoreboard doesn't matter at the end of the night, this one particular play right now probably doesn't either. What else we got going on here? Gareth is saying Crosby, he's a beast on defense. He really is. You know, I've seen him atop some NFL most valuable player, defensive MVP, lists as the number one guy on the board. I don't know if the Raiders defense or the Raiders are going to have the season that's going to allow any of their players to get any individual award, because you're going to take a guy who might not have had Crosby's individual season, but he did it on, like, look at it this way. Let's say Max Crosby has far, far and away the best individual defensive season in the NFL. Let's say he leads the NFL in sacks. Fred Warner is on a team that goes 13-4 and is just right underneath him. I think Fred Warner then wins Defensive Player of the Year over Max Crosby if the Raiders are coming in at 4-13. God, I hope they do better than 4-13, just for my friend JT the Brick's sake. Michael Diaz, you're right. Watch out, Damon, with the street cred. OG gangsta homie Damon knows real about NorCal streets. I do. I do. I know these things. Buddy of mine was a gang force task member here in San Francisco. So, yeah, I know more than I probably should. Oh, do you want one? I tell you, it's not going to really happen until we get to Monday Night Football against the Jets, but we are taking requests here on a Friday.
Maximum
All righty. So we got historic line movement for a preseason game. To think we are all a part of history today. Isn't that special? I'm going to give you a little today in history in just a second, but let me first tell you we got some weekend baseball. A little something to keep an eye on since there is no weekend preseason football coming. It'll all happen tonight for the 49ers and Raiders. Giants got Birdsong going for them in Seattle tonight. They're going to be up in Seattle, the Pacific Northwest, this weekend. It starts a 6-game trip that then heads to Milwaukee next. And want to congratulate the Giants for being one whole game above 500. Meanwhile, the Brewers, where the Giants will head next, the Brewers are actually in Oakland tonight. And the A's, God, this just hurts. The A's have 15 games left in Oakland after tonight. 15 games left in Oakland after tonight. And we have definitely reached the portion of the show where I would like to make a formal invitation to John Fisher to go fuck himself. Good God. What an asshole. No other way to say it. No other way to say it. Otis Bird. Tough road trip for the Giants. I mean, everything gets tough for the Giants, right? I mean, they're in a minute of, oh, what an awesome week and a half. It is 2 steps forward, 3 steps back all the time. And yes, the Fuck John Fisher portion of the show is officially here. Thank you for participating. Brett, thank you, Chef A. Thank you, Mike. Thank you very much, Nathaniel. Thank you, Erwin. And all the way from Green Bay, Wisconsin, Big Mac with one more FJF. San Bruno Mike's getting in. There you go. Devin and Morgan Hill. I just couldn't go say goodbye to the A's in the Coliseum. It hurts too much. I understand. I really understand. I will agree with this. It is bring your own beer night, or maybe that's bring your own bong night for the post-game show. Hopefully it's bring your super chats and your generosity. Hopefully it is bring your excitement. Hopefully it's tell a neighbor, tell a friend that you got to be there all season long at the 2-minute warning when Damon starts live streaming, and you make that part of your football season habit. I would love that. I would love that. Today in history, got a little bit of a heavenly birthday. Let's be honest, this one hurts. Okay? Kobe Bryant turned 6 years old today. I really think it would have been fascinating to see Kobe's post-basketball career and what it would have meant. The guy had already won an Oscar, for goodness sakes. Kobe Bryant was born today in 1978. On August 23rd, 1305. So we're going way back. August 23rd, 1305. You know what happened? Just give me a guess. Give me a guess. Real quick. Someone in the chat. August 3rd, 1305. Do you have any clue what happened on this day all those years ago? So let's see. Hold on. I'm going to go pull up my calculator here. We're going to go 2024 minus 1305. So we're talking 719 years ago. Anybody got what happened in 719 years ago? Let's see if anyone can guess in the chat. We have absolutely nothing to give you. There's absolutely no prize to be won. Anybody know what happened 719 years ago today? Chef A coming in. Magna Carta, True Blue, Magna Carta. We got some Spanish Armada. You're right here, Albert. Magna Carta was 1215, you pigs. What about a ship battle somewhere? Was it the first Olympics? Was it the Lord and his disciples? Was it a diet of worms? No. I mean, maybe they might have been eating worms. Today, in 1305, Sir William Wallace was executed in Scotland, or as it's known to most of you, Braveheart. Sir William Wallace was executed by Longshanks with a disemboweling for the ages that, of course, Mel Gibson was like, you know, I'm going to really have an awful lot of disemboweling at the end of my movie. And that's just going to be a precursor for wait till you see what I do with the crucifixion. But Longshanks today, or as True Blue Forever knows him. Oh, you mean Bill Wallace? Yeah, Billy Wallace. Sir Billy Wallace. There you go. Captured by them limey Brits. Damon, is it true that Robert the Bruce is your grandfather 15 times removed? Look at it this way. It's the story, and I'm going to stick to it. But no, I have heard that I am related to Robert the Bruce, but I would imagine anyone with Scottish ancestry says that. That is some good Middle Ages knowledge. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Gary Radnich, probably, Albert. Raiders winning by 10. Oh, well, then load up, baby. Load up. I mean, you're going to be on the side of the winning number if you bet the Raiders big. And, of course, if you do, use BetUS in the link that is either pinned to this chat or is in the description of this video. Yeah, Billy Wallace, or is known by Christopher Shin. Oh, do you mean B. Wall? Hold on. Jillian just connected AirPods, which means I got to turn off Bluetooth. Well, look, I was at the end of today's show anyway. So thank you very, very much. You got your history lesson. The only other thing I need to tell you about from a historical standpoint is simply this. Hold on. Bluetooth. Let's disconnect those. There we go. Hopefully that's working now. Everything good. The first season of Survivor ended with that Richard Hatch guy winning the first season ever tonight, and they're about to start season 50. I have not watched any season of Survivor, and I feel my life is better for it. Hopefully you plan on tuning into the 2-minute warning this evening right here on the Plus, and your football fandom will be better for it. Thank you for hanging out today. Thank you for being a part of this. It means an awful lot. Thank you for supporting the sponsors, the channel, for going to BetUS, for going to the Dubliner, for going to Ike's and getting yourself a fantastic sandwich. And thanks to all of you for being here and supporting me. It means an awful lot. In the meantime, please do remember that sports don't build character. They reveal it. And like that, he's gone.